And then that's part of the thing, going back to like switching up the real estate side of things. I've made more money buying and selling and even on cash flow 20, 30, 40 unit deals than I have syndicating 150 unit deals. And that's part of the decision-making process that went into like, hey, let's take a step back. You don't only have to focus on 100 unit deals, right? You can create significant wealth doing any size project.
Your network is your net worth. Come listen to some of the most successful people I know share invaluable knowledge, stories, and advice in real estate, business, and beyond. This is Weiss Advice. Whether you want to take your business or personal life to the next level, look no further. Welcome back to Weiss Advice. This is Yona Weiss. I'm your host on this fine day today. We'll be joined by David Toupin, who is, as you may know, the real estate Jedi. What's going on? How you doing, David?
Dude, what's up, man? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
Pleasure. I love to talk. I mean, this is like one of my favorite things to do. For our listeners, they kind of know that already. But it's great to just speak with different people doing different things in the real estate. People are entrepreneurs, business owners, doing great things, and I think you fit in all of those categories. So I'd love to just hear a little bit about your story, just to give context to our listeners. David, if you guys haven't heard of this guy, he started when right out of college, basically, or started real estate investing, has come a very long way, right? Over $100 million in deals in just a short few years, which is pretty impressive. He's also founder of a real estate software app, which we'll get into a little bit. I'd love to hear a little more about that, the Real Estate Lab. And what's going on? I mean, what are you working on now? That's really what I'm curious about.
Man, I was just going through, I have like a whiteboard where I write down all my deals, and it feels like busier than ever, which is really good. And so, it's interesting coming from where I started 4, 5, 6 years ago. It's like, man, it's every ounce of effort is just a fight to get something going. And once you get that ball rolling, it's good because the momentum keeps it up with itself. So things are good.
Yeah, things are good. And I think one of the things that you do, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I've had a couple of people on the show and clients of mine that have actually gone through your like mentorship mastermind, right? Where
nice.
And it's incredible because what you're doing is you're bringing together like people, peers, basically people your age, people that are young, optimistic, enthusiastic, who are crushing it in real estate or want to be. And you're just an inspiration. I mean, how does that make you feel? Like that people are like kind of looking up to you. You're like this. I mean, a lot of people think you're like, okay, he's a kid. He's like 25 years old. Like, what is he?
It's crazy. I get energy from people around me. And one of the things that I love doing is bringing good people together, because what I see from there is like people just blossom. It's crazy. Like all of my young, successful friends, I bring together and I do like get-togethers, once or twice a year. And now I've got this real estate lab community that I run where we've got about 160 members, and it's all young people, 20s, 30s. And it's people that, are really energetic. They're ambitious. They are either in the space already or want to get into the space. And it's just cool to see what happens when you bring people together. It's fun to watch, man. I see people that really started like myself with nothing and now are really, generating lots of income and lots of success and just do a lot of good things in their life. So I like doing that for people.
So when you say you started with nothing, right? I mean, like, what was that really like? Like a lot of people say, oh, okay, I started with nothing. But I mean, your first deal that you did, which was like, I think like a 12 unit, right out of college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in college, actually, my junior year. And, I'm like a lot of college students. I'm like, don't have a lot of money. I think probably less than $1,000 in my bank account. Right. And I'm working an hourly job. I worked my first business. I was a landscaping company. I was like 13 years old. So I started businesses when I was very young. But I think after that, I was like a busboy, and then I worked on campus for something. And then I did a couple internships finally in like, where I was actually making a little bit of money. And I was doing some like consulting, investment banking type of stuff. And then I was like, I don't want to do any of this when I get out of college. I had a couple job offers. I decided not to go with those and went full-time in real estate. So just kind of made that leap like, hey, there's no better time than now to do it. I might as well.
So how did you do that first deal with $1,000 in the bank account? I'm just curious. Like, how did that happen?
I mean, for me, it's like a puzzle, man. There's somebody's going to come up with the money to buy it. I just want to be the architect. I'm going to put it all together. And so I brought in a guy to sign on the loan. And then I went out and found a couple people through various meetups and networking events that I'd been to that had, I think one person was like 15 grand, another was like 50, another was 25, right? And I cobbled together a couple $100,000 and I bought that deal. And that was just a learning experience like crazy for me, right? I knew nothing about working with banks. I didn't know any of that. So it was fun though.
Wow. And then fast forward a few years later, right? You're doing, deals in the tens of millions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bought about 1,200 and something apartments to date. Now, a lot of the stuff, it's funny. I was for a while, I was really on board the 100+ unit club. Like that's all I want to do is 100+ unit bigger deals. I think my biggest being about a 230. Nowadays, I've got 6 deals that are in transactional phases right now, whether I'm selling or buying. And I think 4 of them are under 100 units, smaller deals from 18 to 60 units. And what I've found is nowadays what I'm really focusing on is less big syndications, more joint ventures. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my own capital, or I'm just having like a couple partners per deal with larger investment amounts from 250 to $1 million.
Right.
And so I'm kind of like, I'm trying to take a little bit of that, I've got over 100 investors at the moment. I'd rather have 10 that are, putting in $1 million in every deal type of situation. So that's kind of what I'm working towards right now is a little bit, maybe smaller deals, but larger ownership percentages, more control, that type of deal.
Gotcha. And you founded a company called Obsidian Capital, right? Co-founded a company. And
I did.
You bought a lot of deals, went full cycle.
Yep.
And then you just recently sold it.
I did.
How do you do that?
Yeah. So I started this software company. I founded the company about 4 years ago, and then I had met who became one of my best mentors and still a business partner of mine today. His name's Glenn. And I had another business partner on that company, Mike. It was the 3 of us. And we had done a lot of big deals. I think we bought like 800 units together, 700 units, mostly stuff in Texas. We're doing some development right now still as well. But I started a software company about 1.5 years ago, which I split my time 50-50 between real estate and the software now. And, it's a lot to do both. And I just kind of wanted to focus on different deals. So I said, hey, we're all still on great terms. They're good guys. We're good buddies. But I said, hey, if you guys want to buy this company from me or buy me out of the company, I'm open to that at this point so I can focus on different things. Mm-hmm. And so, we just kind of like had a couple conversations about it and it made sense at the time and it made sense for them, made sense for me. And so we negotiated some of that and that happened a couple months ago. I still own several deals with them, but they wanted to keep the company name. And I'm like, all right, that's okay with me. I can create another name, right? I got plenty of time to create another brand. So yeah. So it worked out.
Cool. That's really cool. I mean, it just goes to show you, like, there are options out there. Like you just go see what happens, right? You don't. If your goal is to be, start this big real estate company, and then things change, and your time focus, do what you love, do what you're passionate about, and focus on that. I mean, you're still doing real estate, you're still doing deals, but you wanted to focus on this software company. So let me dig in there a second. Like, tell me about. I know nothing, and our listeners may know something, but tell me about this real estate lab. What is this software all about?
So I guess I'll give you a little bit of the backstory. Wind back maybe 6 years ago when I first started. Right, I'm a very analytical person. I'd just gotten out of some intense investment banking internships where you're working 80 hours a week and you're in Excel the whole time, right? So I got really good at Excel. When I got into apartments, for me, I think it was really easy because I'm very analytical and right away it made sense. It's like, okay, it cash flows this much, or here's the income, here's my expenses, here's my debt, here's my structure with my investors. It's all numbers, right? And you work it out. Boom, boom, boom. This is exactly what I could pay to make this property work. Mm-hmm. Okay, didn't work. Here's the next one. Make an offer. So it was very quick for me. I got that part down quick. And so I built this spreadsheet. 3 years later, it kind of grew. people started wanting to buy it from me. Over the next, so this was probably starting 2.5 years ago, over that next like 12 months, I sold $100,000 of a spreadsheet, word of mouth. And I'm like,
what?
Wow, what? People must really want this. And there's a market for it, right? There's a lot of people that are just getting into business, starting syndication, this, that, and the other. And so a lot of people have a need for a tool. And I said, wow, this tool can be further improved and it needs to be some sort of software. And so I started Real Estate Lab 2 years ago. I hired a software development team that was not the best. That was $60,000 of my money down the trash, but you live and you learn. Went on to the next. I have a really good team out of San Diego right now. I've been working with for about a year. We just launched our beta. We've got about 100 beta testers at the moment using our product. And by the end of 2021, we'll have it to the market. It is a acquisitions platform for multifamily investors. You can track your pipeline. We have a cool, intuitive kind of map interface. You can track all the deals with the pin. You can go into the property page, take notes on the property, store all your documents. You can open your analysis right on the web browser, plug in all your numbers. You can upload a rent roll in a T12. It'll read those. It'll pull those numbers, put it into the analysis for you, save you a bunch of time. Our goal is, you can write custom LOIs right in the platform, send them out. The goal is, within the next year or two, we'll be able to pull a lot of market data in and really automate the analysis process. And then eventually I want people to be able to get their deals financed and funded right through the platform as well. So kind of a one-stop shop on the acquisition side.
Wow.
I don't want to do property management. I don't want to do investor management. I'm like, I want to be one of the only people doing the acquisition side, transaction side of the process.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, there's not a lot of, I'm sure you did a little research, market research and stuff like that before you went into this, but there's not a lot out there that does what you're describing.
We've got CoStar that's like data.
Yeah,
right. And then you've got a couple of services, RedIQ, Noto. There's a couple that do like parsing, like rent roll, T12 parsing, but there's none that's specifically for like acquisition management type of deal like this. So it's very unique. It works well and it's coming together. We got a lot of cool features coming up and I'm excited to see what happens. It's my first type of software play and I really want to impact the industry. I think it's my biggest thing is like, what can I bring that could change how people buy apartments? So
that's awesome. Yeah, it really is. I mean, finding your niche, finding what it is that you do best, and then just, seeing how you can explore it. Obviously, having the means that you created through the real estate investing gave you the time to be able to focus on something like this.
100%. Yep. I mean, we're well over $500,000 in development on the software, and I'm sure many millions more will go into it over the next couple of years. So we're building a really serious platform. And I think a lot of people from beginners to experienced syndicators to institutional investors will end up using this over the next couple of years. They'll really start getting into it. And it's going to be affordable, right? I mean, you're not going to be paying over $1,000 a month like you are for CoStar.
Right.
My goal is to be a lot cheaper than the other competition and allow people that are more entry level to kind of get in the game easier and help with that analysis portion, which really is a roadblock for most people, So if I can make it institutional friendly, but also have tools that educate people that are new to this and make it easier, really anyone can invest in apartments then.
Yeah. And I think what you're doing is kind of breaking the stereotypes, right? I mean, people think, oh, what can a 22-year-old kid do? Buy a syndication, buy an apartment. Yes, it can be done.
It can be done. I've done it.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%, man. And and that's part of the thing. Going back to like switching up the real estate side of things, I've made more money buying and selling, and even on cash flow, 20, 30, 40 unit deals than I have syndicating 150 unit deals. And that's part of the decision-making process that went into like, hey, let's take a step back. You don't only have to focus on 100 unit deals, right? You can create significant wealth doing any size project.
So why do you think that is? Like how, because you hear a lot of people like big on the, especially all these mentorship programs and everything like that. Like, oh yeah. You think it's because of like all the fees that they're, charging, that they're kind of selling, do these bigger deals because you'll get bigger fees as a syndicator?
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I think that's part of it. A lot of people that are, syndicators really don't at the end of the day own a lot of the deals that they put together. I mean, I've only ever had one co-sponsor on any deal I've ever done. I've never done this whole group of 6 or 7 people because like, that's how you control the deal. That's how you actually build wealth, right? When you get bigger chunks of equity. And, I've done deals where we've had 7 figures off of 100+ unit deal between me and my partner. But I've also done a 20 unit deal that produced a 7-figure check by the time we flipped it, and I didn't have any partners on it. So it's like, what really, I don't need to focus on the big ones if I could do it on this. Plus, I could qualify for the loans of the smaller ones, so I don't need to bring in this many partners. On a $10 million deal, I'm not qualifying for the loan on my own, right? But a $5 million deal, I can support that without any other partners. So, it's all strategy, right? Everybody's got a different strategy, and that, doing the larger deals definitely helped me get here, and I plan to continue doing them when it makes sense. And in some markets it doesn't make a ton of sense. You go to Dallas or Austin, it's definitely difficult to buy. There's not many people that own over 100 units that aren't sophisticated,
right?
But there are a lot of deals to be made in this 20, 30, 40, 50, 80, unit range that are less sophisticated, and you can find off market deals, and that I'm finding a lot more luck with.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'd love to talk to you more about that, actually, maybe offline a little, but
sure.
Because that's, I'm sure our listeners can gain a lot from that as well, because I think it's important to realize, right, there are so many different ways to make it. And whether it's with single families, whether it's we've got a lot of short-term rental people that are making tons of money. I mean, I spoke to someone today; they're making spending about a half an hour a week. Okay, a half an hour a week of managing short-term rental cabin. Okay, and they're making about $50,000 to $60,000, a year just when they have like 4 or 5 of those. That's
crazy.
Yeah. It just, they have a software, Airbnb and stuff like that. They manage a lot of the stuff, and it's really not a lot of work. So finding a lot of people getting into that space, there are so many different ways you can make money in real estate. It's really just kind of finding what speaks to you. And I think when you have to kind of try different things out, right? Like you said, you tried out the 20 unit deals, you tried out the 150 unit deals, syndications, and kind of finding what it is that you like and what makes sense to you. But isn't it more like, would you say it's, more intensive in terms of the management of the thing in the smaller deals? Because you don't have like a full-time, you can't really afford a full-time property manager or maintenance person, all that kind of stuff.
The way I set everything up, they're all pretty like hands off for me. I've got about 500 or 600 units at the moment. I spend probably less than 10 hours a week doing asset management, just because I get my property management company set up really well, to where I'm hands off. They have everything they need up front, and then we get on like a weekly call to go over everything. I kind of knock everything out once a week with them, and then we do the same thing the following week. I just, the way I've set it up, it's pretty low maintenance. So I'd say it's the same for all of them. The bigger ones are nice having on-site staff for sure. And if I was the property management company, I wouldn't want to be managing the smaller ones. That's for sure. Most of the stuff I own, my smaller portfolio, is all in pretty concentrated areas in Austin and back in Michigan, where I grew up. So I have one management company that does everything in Michigan, and I have one that does it in the Texas stuff. So
got you. So it's all about just finding the right, boots on the ground people to kind of take care of stuff. Okay. That's
exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
Okay. What's one thing, if you could say, like, that you are, besides for the software, because obviously that's huge amount of time and energy that you're, pouring into, but what's one thing that you want to like make a big difference in, in the world, I'd say in the next like 5 years or so?
In the next 5 years? Well, I think impacting the multifamily industry through the software is definitely a big passion and goal of mine. Outside of real estate, I'm really passionate about helping other entrepreneurs, or maybe people that aren't entrepreneurs, realize their potential. Like, I did a lot of work when I lived in Michigan with this group of kids in Detroit. It was like a group home of kids that are like wards of the state. They don't have parents, essentially they're orphans. And I want to give back to like organizations like that. I'm a big fan of helping kids and setting up programs to help them realize what their potential is, and helping people start businesses. I love starting businesses. I'm a pure entrepreneur. That's what I am. I will be to the day I die, and I like helping other people realize and step into those shoes if they have the potential to do that. So, if I could do that for youth, or really for anyone, but especially I'm passionate about it with young people, that's a big passion of mine.
How'd you get that? How'd you get that bug? I mean, you said like for 13, you already had like a landscaping business, right?
Dude, I think it was my mom. She pushed me. I was such a hyper kid, dude. I was so hyper. And she's like, you need to get your energy out somehow. And she's like, start mowing the neighbors' lawns. And so I started doing that. And then it just was one after the other, and just kind of started a business out of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just mowing lawns.
You got to channel your energy, That's called channeling your energy, right?
It is, man. It is 100%. It's how a lot of entrepreneurs start. I talk to a lot of people like, dude, my first business was landscaping too. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it goes a lot of times. It's an easy one to start.
Yeah, it is. It's true. I mean, especially if you're in like a suburban area where you got
suburban. Yeah. Not if you're in New York City, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Different things you can do over there.
Yeah. It's a little different.
Hopefully legally, but no, there's nothing can be done.
Exactly.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you do these kind of masterminds and you have like the younger people, millennials, if you want to call them that, like just coming together, like you said, using that positive energy, using that combined energy to just create new things. And I told you, I mean, I literally have had people that they're doing their deals now. They're like, yeah, I was part of, David's master.
That's awesome.
And like,
I love hearing that. Yeah. That's never something I really imagined, would come together and be that well known. But yeah, a lot of people are involved. We got a lot of members in the group, built a good following across social media, and just people love the movement, man. It's very cool for me to be able to inspire people to see that, like, hey, it doesn't matter where you started, what you come from, or what you have in the beginning. Like, you don't need a lot to start, but you do need to work really hard.
You work hard. Yeah.
It's certainly not easy. My first 3 years were 100-hour weeks, no friends, no partying, no drinking, no going out. I left all my friends in college. Like, none of that. I mean, it was literally morning till night, eat, sleep, work, and that's it. And yeah, I definitely have a lot more fun now, and there's a little bit more balance now in my life, right? After I can afford to live. But, it's definitely something you got to do. You got to grind and be willing to put that hard work in. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. That's the first key, is the hard work.
The hard work. And you had mentors, you said, along the way that kind of helped you.
Definitely.
Help you through that.
Yep. Always. Yeah. Tons of mentors. I mean, I've never been afraid to reach out to somebody and ask a question or try to provide value back to them in some way, and just create good connections. And it's like, you help me out, I help you out, and we're all winning.
What are you looking for? Like, if someone's listening to this right now, like, I would love to, help out David in some way. Like, how could someone help you?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want any more deals at the moment. You can send me deals. I don't know if I have time to take any more on, to be honest. But you can send them my way. I always like looking at deals. Join my real estate lab community, change your life. If you want to start getting apartments, I can help you do that, through that community. And so will everybody else. It's a pretty cool group. Sign up for the software, check it out, see if you like it.
There you go.
And just keep spreading the message.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to kind of transition now to the final four. So these are 4 questions I ask all my guests. So the first question is, what is the worst job that you ever had?
I was a busboy at a high-end restaurant. That was probably the worst job I ever had. It was just hectic. It was just terrible.
I mean, that's cruel work,
Yeah, it's terrible work. You don't want to be doing that. That's not fun.
That's like the bottom end of the feeding,
Oh, it is, man. But hey, that's what you do when you're in high school,
I mean, I'm sure it taught you hard work. That's for sure.
Yeah. I was doing that and landscaping at the same time just to make some more money. And I probably didn't need to be doing that.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay. Well, I'm glad you moved on from that.
Yeah, me too.
Second question. What is a book you've read that's given you a paradigm shift?
I hate to say Rich Dad Poor Dad, but that is what got me in the business and really changed my life real estate wise. A paradigm shift was the 10X rule. I had a goal in 2016. It's funny. I have my old goal books and I used to write them down every single day. I still write them down, just not every day, but I used to write them every single morning. And I wrote down, like, I want 10 rentals by the time I'm 25. And then I read the 10X rule. And then I said, I want 500 units within the next 3 years. It was in May of 2016. In April of 2019, I closed on a 136 unit deal, put me up to 520 units because I changed my goals, because I started going bigger. because I stopped thinking 10 single family rentals. I want 500 units in 3 years, and I made it happen in 2 years, 11 months. 10x rule all the way. Change the game.
That's so true. It's just about changing your mindset, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
Pushing yourself way beyond what you believe is possible, because like they say, if you shoot for the stars, right, you'll hit something.
You may land on the moon, man. And that's still pretty darn good.
Absolutely. So for the third question for me, what's a skill or talent that you'd like to learn?
I wish I could code. I can't code. I mean, I have a team of software developers, but I don't know how to code. And I feel like that's something I need to know. Mm-hmm. I'm also getting my pilot's license right now. And that's a skill that I'm learning in the process. So,
oh, wow.
That's a fun one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Building a hangar right now too. And hopefully next year we'll get a little plane. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
that's a good skill.
Flying's fun, man. The first time I went up, it just changed my life. I'm like, dude, this is the ultimate freedom. I need a plane immediately. So I'm working on it at the moment.
There you go. That's make it easier to check out deals, you know?
Seriously. That's it. The business will pay for the plane and I will buy more deals because of it.
100%. No, I've seen quite a few people have planes and just able to skip around, you know, figure out where they need to be and get there.
100%.
And in fact, I remember a story, Grant Cardone once, like many years ago, he was like, he wanted to send an LOI and showed up like the next day. He's like, I'm going to be at the airport.
He showed up. That's right. He did. Yeah. He's got a big boy plane. I'll be starting with a little one, but we'll maybe work our way up.
Work your way up for sure.
Definitely.
Very good. Very cool. So fourth and final question is, what does success mean to you?
I think success is like kind of all encompassing. To me, like when I first started, I think my answer would just be like, it's measured in money. Right. And I think, in the beginning that was good, right? Because my focus was, I need to make a lot of money so I could change my lifestyle, so I could change others' lives, so I could really, improve. But now I think it's all encompassing. I think it's health. I really taken a step back, focused on health this year. That's important to me. I think it's relationships with family, girlfriend, people around you, like really focusing on creating strong relationships in your life. And then I think to be successful, you can't just focus on yourself. You have to focus on others. You have to focus on how are you helping other people, with the blessings that you have? How are you giving back?
Right.
How are you either donating or putting time, volunteering, or spending time and helping other young entrepreneurs get in the game and learn? Like, what kind of time? I spend a lot of time that does not pay me. I do not get paid for it, but I spend a lot of time just helping other people because that makes me feel good and I enjoy doing it. And so I think all of that together is success to me.
That's awesome. Yeah. I totally agree with that, especially, helping other people. That's really what it's all about. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be, it can be time. It can be listening, it can be helping, just seeing someone else in need or just teaching people. I mean, you have no idea, what knowledge you have and what you've built up to this point. You have no idea like what that could mean by sharing some of that with someone else.
Seriously.
It could really,
and you really don't, like you said, you don't know what it means, because to us, it's like, you're an expert in what you do, and like just having little conversations here that might like click a light bulb for someone that helps them just go down this path that, like, to us, it's like, just another conversation. To them, it's like, wow, that really changed my life.
Exactly. It's exactly right. And you never know. So it's just like, keep sharing that, if you have something, something, just keep sharing that knowledge, and it doesn't need to be for money. Like, it's just sharing. I see all these people like, I'm creating a course online and I'm going to sell it, everything like that. Okay, there's a place for that, starting a business, doing that, but there's so much, you'll get so much more just by giving away free knowledge than you will by creating a course and selling it.
The Gary Vaynerchuk method, man.
Yeah.
Give it all away. I love 100%.
It. Awesome. So how can our listeners find you? What's the best way people reach out to you?
Yeah, best way is Instagram at Real Estate Jedi. Follow me on YouTube, search up David Toupin, Facebook. Instagram is probably the best though. You can DM me. I'm always available.
There you go. Awesome. I'm so glad that you took the time today and shared a little time with us and our listeners, and appreciate it. Hopefully we can do this again.
Thanks, man. Would love to. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. And to our listeners, remember, until next time, the best advice comes only when you ask. Real quick, I have one question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask you a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message to the whole world is that if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this podcast is out on is that you like my stuff and I'm doing something right. So take a few seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating or review. I would be extremely grateful. Also, I want to hear from you guys. So I want to hear some feedback. If you have any questions for future episodes, please find me on LinkedIn. Send me a DM, a connection request, Yona Weiss, and I'd love to hear from you.